Okay, you've definitely seen it in just about every bar you've ever been in, that bubbly, a little bit bitter mixer. But what if I told you that tonic water is way, way more than just a soft drink? Its story? Well, it's an incredible journey. We're talking about life-saving medicine, the expansion of global empires, and a really surprising secret that, believe it or not, literally glows in the dark.
So yeah, a lot of us have tasted it, right? Usually with a splash of gin. But very few of us actually know its history. This isn't just carbonated water we're talking about. It's a drink with a serious past. And once you understand that past, you're going to appreciate what's in your glass on a completely new level.
All right, first things first, let's clear up a really common mix-up. Tonic water is not soda water. The key difference, the one ingredient that changes everything, is a compound called quinine. That's what gives tonic its signature bitter flavor. Soda water, on the other hand, is basically just fizzy, neutral-tasting water.
The difference is really just that one single ingredient, quinine. But the story of how that quinine got in there, and more importantly, why, is what makes tonic water so unbelievably fascinating.
Because this isn't just a story of a drink, you see. It's a story about a really powerful medicine, an absolutely essential tool for building an empire, and a secret property that you can actually see with your own two eyes.
So let's start at the very beginning. Our story doesn't kick off in some bottling factory. Nope, it begins deep in the Andes Mountains with a very, very special tree.
And here it is, our star ingredient, quinine. It's an alkaloid that's found in the bark of the cinchona tree. For centuries, long before Europeans ever showed up, the indigenous peoples there recognized its power. And its most important property? It was the world's first effective treatment against malaria. A huge deal. You know, what's so wild about this timeline is just seeing that shift from a local, folk remedy to a full-on commercial product. For centuries, the Quechua people knew about the power of quina, the bark of barks. Then, bam, 1820, a couple of French scientists isolate the pure compound. And finally, in 1858, an entrepreneur named Erasmus Bond bottles it up, patents it, and gives the world its very first commercial tonic water.
So here's where things get really interesting. How did this medicinal drink become a global sensation? Well, for that, we've got to look at the major geopolitical forces of the 19th century, and specifically the British Empire.
Just think about it for a second. Quinine is intensely bitter. I mean, nobody would just choose to drink it for fun. So how in the world did it become the key ingredient in the beloved gin and tonic? Well, the answer is a classic case of innovation born out of sheer necessity. It all happened in three pretty simple steps. First, you had the problem. British guys in malaria-heavy places like India had to take their daily dose of quinine, and it was just awful. So, second, the solution. They started mixing the bitter powder with sugar, lime, and some fizzy water to mask that taste. And the final, brilliant step, they added gin, a spirit they already knew and loved. And just like that, the G&T was born. Not in some fancy cocktail bar, but as a totally practical way to get the medicine down.
And seriously, do not underestimate how important this new cocktail was. It wasn't just about having a nice drink at the end of the day. At the time, its impact was seen as monumental, a genuine tool for survival.
And this quote just illustrates the point perfectly. This famous line, often attributed to Churchill, it just captures the feeling perfectly. The drink wasn't just seen as saving their bodies from malaria, but also their minds from the misery of having to take the medicine. It became this crucial part of both the physical and psychological toolkit of the empire.
Okay, so we've covered the medicine, we've covered the empire. Now for the really cool kind of science fair part of the story. Because it turns out quinine has a hidden talent.
Beyond the bubbles, beyond the bitterness, there is a physical property hiding in plain sight that most people never ever notice. But trust me, it's been there all along.
Yep, that's right. Under the right conditions, tonic water glows with this eerie, beautiful blue light. It's not a trick, it is pure physics.
This whole phenomenon is called fluorescence. So here's how it works in really simple terms. The quinine molecules, they get zapped by invisible UV light, like from a blacklight or even just direct sunlight. They get all excited, and to calm back down, they immediately release that extra energy as light that we can see, and in this case, it's a vibrant blue.
Now you might be thinking, there must be a whole lot of quinine in tonic water to make it glow like that. But here's the amazing part. Modern tonic water has a tiny, perfectly safe amount. In the US, the FDA limits it to a maximum of just 83 parts per million. And even at that minuscule concentration, the effect is so strong that you can easily see the glow. It's wild.
All right, let's jump to the modern era and see how this historic drink has totally transformed. The days of tonic being just some simple, one-size-fits-all mixer are long, long gone. We are right in the middle of a craft revolution.
If you look at the market today, you'll see that while classic, regular tonic still holds the biggest share, the real action is in the other categories. Flavored tonics, with all these complex botanical notes and slimline or low-calorie options, they're just expanding like crazy, catering to people with more sophisticated and health-conscious tastes.
And this quote from Fever Tree, one of the brands that really spearheaded this whole revolution, it just perfectly captures the new mindset. People suddenly realized they were pairing these $100 craft gins with cheap, sugary mixers. And that simple idea, that the mixer is a huge part of the drink, it changed everything.
The key takeaway here is that today it is all about quality and customization. The market has totally shifted towards natural ingredients, really complex flavors like elderflower or hibiscus, and of course, healthier, lower sugar options. And with the huge boom in at-home mixology, people now treat their tonic as a key ingredient, not just some filler. So where does this incredible journey go from here? Well, the evolution of tonic water is far from over. In fact, it might just be entering its most interesting phase yet.
Looking ahead, we're really seeing three key paths emerge. 1. As more and more people cut back on alcohol, tonic is being repositioned as this complex, standalone adult soft drink. 2. Expect to see more beverages with a purpose, with added functional ingredients. And 3, and this is really amazing, scientists have recently unlocked the cinchona tree's genetic secrets, paving the way for sustainable, lab-grown quinine that doesn't rely on stripping bark from trees anymore.
So it started as an indigenous remedy, it became a tool of empire, then a cocktail staple, and now a craft beverage. And it's on the verge of becoming a wellness drink. It just makes you wonder, what's going to be the next surprising twist in the long and fascinating history of tonic water? What will we all be drinking in another 100 years?
Don't forget to like and subscribe for more How Meets History.